नहीं अंकल tell when to start your where is YBN sir?
Yes, you're telling something?
Yeah, where is YBN sir? YBN sir.
Yeah. He just called. We'll join in a minute.
Okay.
1 minute.
Jana Mansa Jana Mansa
Hey, Mansa दीदी.
Hey, he don't. बैठ जाओ
Let's go, Papa. Let's go, Papa. Let's go, Papa.
Hi, Mansa. Hello, everyone. Good evening. We don't
Good evening.
have three speakers yet, so let's give another 2 minutes. We don't have Aditi, we don't have Anisha, we don't have Vaivyan sir yet. Vaivyan sir said like he will join in a couple of minutes.
Good evening, Surya.
Good evening, Ramu Garu.
Nice to meet you, all of you.
Yeah, same here, sir. Where is our heroes?
They are busy in watching TV.
Oh, wonderful.
They'll be joining after some time.
Sure. We have a dancer here, Joina. She's dancing.
Oh, okay.
Right, Joina? Kagesh, you are on mute. I kept you on mute because of some noises.
Again, she is doing like this.
Hi, Joina.
Hi.
Yeah, nice. That's the energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rishika? Rishika, are you there? Rishika, unmute yourself. I think we can start with your story. Hi, Pranav.
Hi. Today I'm going to tell.
No, just wait.
No. Oh, you want to tell first, Joina?
Yes.
Yes, then we will start with you. Okay, Rishi, we will start with Joina. Okay. So all of you pin on Joina's screen. Okay.
Today I'm going to tell story about.
Speak loudly. Just
Today I'm going to tell story about.
What, Joina? One second.
Just wait.
Again, there are some voices coming from your.
Yeah. We're going to mute.
Can you mute for some time until she completes the story? Just 3 minutes, right? Through 3 minutes.
It won't be more than, in fact, 3 minutes. I don't know how much time she will take.
That's okay. Let her take. We have a lot of time for her.
Yeah, ask her. Ask him. Start now.
Can I start now? My story?
No, your TV is still going on. Or can you move to other room?
He doesn't want to go there. This is called the time pass. This is time pass.
Okay. We have IBN sir also.
I don't know. Okay, I'll put the earphone. Better.
No, now it is fine, Kagesh. Now it is fine. No, you know earphones. Let us say. Now it is fine. Joanna, you can start, Joanna.
Wait, come to the story.
Today I'm going to tell a
Speak
story.
loudly.
Yeah, be louder, okay?
Today I'm going to tell a story about Sultan and the Rabbit Part 2. Once there was an elephant who was working. The rabbit was just sitting and eating carrots. He told to elephant, you are fat and you are working.
Out.
You are fat and still you are working. He became angry. The hippopotamus came. He told to the elephant, he is just jealous of you. Then he told to everyone that I want to do a racing again. I just gave some time to Turtle Will. They made the race and they started racing fast. The rabbit chose the hillway. They firstly climbed. Near there was a river. He don't know how to swim. He just stand there. Then the turtle came. He was crawling and sliding down, crawling and sliding down. So,
Speak loudly, yeah. Okay.
he tried again, try again to climb, and
So,
he firstly reached there was river. He told to rabbit, come sit on my back. I will swim the river away. The turtle swim. The turtle swim and crossed the river. They crossed the river. They said thank you and tell to him sorry what I have done. We can win the race together. He told. But the turtle said how? Sit on my back, I will carry you. We will win the race together. Everyone in the jungle was surprised. Moral of the story, we can do anything by helping each other.
good.
Beautiful. Now, Joanna, I have a question for you. You know swimming?
Yes.
Then you have to take me on your back because I don't know swimming.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. She doesn't know.
Just kidding. Yes. Very good, Joanna. Wonderful.
Good. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Again, next week, one more story, okay?
Very good, Joanna.
Okay.
That is a wonderful story.
Thank you.
Nice. Very sweet. Very sweet. Nice. Now we have our Vivian sir. Vivian sir, would you like to tell your what is that small? The big or small?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Big or small.
Good evening.
Hi, Kagesh. I
Yes.
heard your daughter. Fantastic.
Okay.
Nice. She spoke well. Good.
Thank you, Uncle.
Good evening.
Good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just give a minute. I am adjusting my earphones, headphones. Call them what you want.
Today I thought of buying a headphone. Good headphone. Really?
Huh?
Today I thought of buying a good headphone.
You do that.
You need it now.
You
Yeah.
need it now.
Really, I think.
Rather, your daughter needs it.
Good evening, kids. Shall we start?
Yes.
I'll put my timer for 10 minutes so that I don't delay. You are all speaking so well. I should intrude. Today we shall begin speaking about your most favorite persons, your mummy, mothers.
Okay, speaks is very good.
Are you able to hear me, kids? Able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. But mummies, they are so fussy about small things. Keep your cupboard neat, make your bed properly, everything should be in its place. Don't put that there, don't put this here. They'll be fussing about small things. But what we want, kids, is big things. A big tin of chocolates, a big house, a big toy, and the bigger kids in your house, your parents, they'll want bigger positions, bigger roles. Old chaps like me, as we grow old, we'll want big screen TVs. So everything we want is big. But mummy will always say, small things, you do this, do that, then we will see. The conversation about big and small goes on in our lives. This is big, that is small, this is big. In fact, big things make other things small. That's what happens. Big or small is just it's just relative. Today we'll talk about how small things do big things. I called it the big of small. When I was a little kid, like you all young kids, I used to tag along with my father. We were staying in Hyderabad in a place called Vidyanagar. And there used to be two small hotels in small shacks. One was called the Ramaya Hotel and the other was called the Chalamaya Hotel. They were very small, not big restaurants, no air conditioning, nothing of that sort. But the moment we approached those hotels, we were almost feeling like we were being welcomed by somebody most affectionate to us. Everybody who comes to their hotels, they are called by name, addressed by name. And before you take your seat inside the hotel, your favorite dishes are already ordered. So, in fact, those people, small hotels, they made us feel big because they used to address us by our names. And the most beautiful thing that we want to hear, the most beautiful sound, is your name being called. Somebody calls your name, that's the sweetest sound, other than your mummy's voice. Talking of hearing, now we'll go to something really, small things, how they make big. The small membrane in our ear, it's called the tympanic membrane. It's a circular shaped one and just 0.1 millimeter thick, or rather 0.1 millimeter thin. It is very small and it plays a very major role in our hearing, how we hear things. Sound waves, I'm not going into much of science. They enter the auditory canal, which is the outer ear, and then they strike this membrane, this small, thin tympanic membrane. And now that starts vibrating. And that vibration, that force is sent to three bones, small bones that are behind the tympanic membrane. They are the malleus, incus, and stapes. From there, they vibrate and then it goes to the oval window, then to the cochlear canal, then to the sensory cells of the cochlea, which then transmit these vibrations as impulses through the auditory nerve to the brain when we start hearing things. So a small thing like a tympanic membrane, which is just, as I told you, 0.1 mm thick or thin, it is very insignificant if we look at the big sizes that we see around, but it plays a very big role. Plays a very big role. In fact, if you look at people, our unfortunate brothers and sisters who are hard of hearing, who are unable to hear properly, you will see what this small thing, what difference it makes to their lives. Small things make a lot of mischief in our life. Let us shift our attention to another membrane, the primary unit of life, of yours, of mine, of any living being on this earth, is a cell. It's the unit cell. And the unit cell is covered by a very thin membrane. This membrane's thickness is 4 nanometer. That is 0 followed by about 8 zeros and then 4, so many meters. Very, very, very tiny, very small. But if this membrane were not to be there, there is no life on earth. You will not be there. Very small thing. Hello? Is that for me, Surya?
Sir, yes, sir. I'm asking everyone to pin you and mute themselves so that we don't have here any
Okay.
disturbance.
Shall I continue then?
Yes, sir, please.
The cell membrane, this tiny thing, this thin thing, it gives structure to the cell. It also acts as a gatekeeper. It knows what should come in and what should go out for life to be sustained, for metabolism to take place. This cell has proteins and lipids. These are maybe young kids. These might be terms that you may not be exposed to as yet. But I'm just telling you small things, how they will do big, how they act big in our life. It allows oxygen and carbon dioxide to go in and out. Oxygen is required. Streaming has stopped, Surya.
Sir, continue, sir. Sorry to bother you.
No. Streaming has stopped, it has told. Nothing? You're able to hear?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Please continue.
Okay. So metabolism that takes place inside that cell, the oxygen gives the environment or the requirement it fulfills. Carbon dioxide is a byproduct. So it is allowed to go out, and then little calcium that is also required. This, in fact, proteins and lipids that are inside this cell, their movement and life is governed by this very thin membrane. It plays a very big role. Nothing is small. Next, talking about proteins, let us come to the present day, coronavirus. The weight of a single coronavirus is about 0.85 attogram. That is 10 power minus 18 point is one atto, the prefix. So point followed by 18 zeros, 85 gram is one single virus. Small, tiny, minuscule in weight. And when they enter the human body, when the virus enters the human body and it multiplies itself, when it reaches a score of about 70 billion, children, 100,000 make 1 million and thousands make 1 billion. So 70 billion of these, when they infect our body or when they grow to a strength of 70 billion, then we get a coronavirus positive report. And the total weight of these 70 billion coronavirus cells in our body is about 0.5605 gram. Very, 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 very small amount. And look at the havoc it causes. In fact, all over the world, the total weight of the coronavirus that has infected and taken the lives of thousands of people and caused economic loss of nearly 90,000 billion rupees. The total weight of the virus spreading around in the world is 2 gram. That is the little amount. Isn't small really big? The small vegetable vendor, this is for the elders. No, while we used to keep going to Spencer's pre-COVID, we never even used to look at that fellow, small vegetable vendor. And then when COVID struck, that fellow became big. Oh, my timer is alerting me. Just a minute. I'm just finishing it. That small fellow was insignificant for us. But the moment COVID struck us, he became big. Kids, I'm finishing it. Kids, you may be small today, but there are big things inside you. You are pure and unadulterated by the ways of the world. You will become big. Nobody can stop you. Your parents will provide the environment for you, small, tiny ones, to grow big in your lives. But in the process, don't forget the small things. Whatever mummy asks you to do, you keep doing them regularly. Those small things, they are big. They're not small. Keep your bookshelf clean, brush your teeth twice every day, drink your glass of milk without fuss, and you do your homework on time. These small things will lead to big things. Small things will become big when you think big. And my dear elders, please pardon me. No need of us to have a big ego. Let us have an optimum sized ego. That is enough for us to survive in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes. So, anyone have any questions for Vivian, sir?
I think all
Or
of
we
you.
want to, yeah, they can unmute themselves. We want to have a clear voice. That's why I'm muting everyone who's unmuted. Okay, then. If you have no questions, we'll move to our next narrator. Anisha. Riddhi, sorry. Short movies. Can you switch on your video and unmute yourself and narrate the story title? The Three Thieves. Riddhi. Again, please pin to the narrator so that you will see them. Riddhi, start Riddhi. Show your video.
What's the name of speaker? Short movies, is it?
Short movies, yes. Riddhi is, yeah, Anisha.
Yeah, okay.
Riddhi. Okay, Riddhi, go on. Start.
Good morning. Good evening. My name is Janisha. I'm studying in class 4. Today I'm going to narrate a story. The title of my story is The Three Thugs. Once upon a time, there lived a Brahmin. One day his father asked him to go to the cattle fair and bring a goat for some sacrifice of Hindu rites. So the Brahmin went to the cattle fair and brought a goat. The goat was healthy and fat. And three thugs who was roaming around saw the Brahmin and the goat. So he thought of the method of taking to thuggery. So when he went to the and the thugs hid themselves in the path of the Brahmin, where the Brahmin was there. So as the Brahmin would come and as the Brahmin came to the first spot where the first thug was hiding, the thug came out from his hiding place and said to the Brahmin in a little laughing tone, "Dear Brahmin, why do you carry a dog on your shoulders?" The Brahmin got angry and shouted at him, "Can't you see it is not a dog but a goat?" Saying this, he went away. The Brahmin had covered hardly 100 yards when the second thug came out from his hiding place and said to the Brahmin, "Dear Brahmin, why do you carry a dead calf on your shoulders?" The Brahmin got angry and said that and said that it is not a dead calf but a goat. He went a little miles away when the third came and said to him, "Dear Brahmin, why do you carry a donkey on your shoulders?" The Brahmin got angry and again shouted, "Can't you see it is not a donkey but a goat?" He went away. After a mile, he thought to himself, "Is that really a ghost, no, but not a goat?" The goat transferred itself to a dog, to a dog, to calf, to a calf, to a donkey. So, he got frightened. He said it is really a ghost. He kept down the goat and ran away. Thank you. The moral of the story is one should not be carried away what others say.
Good.
Very nice, Riddhi, Anisha. So what is the moral again? Don't get.
Carried away what others say.
So now should we carry your story or not?
What?
You just, anyway, nothing. So we'll move to the next one, Aditi. Nice, Anisha. Thank you so much. Aditi, Didi ko do. Abhi. Hi, Aditi. What is the title of your story? Ego. Okay, fine. Carry on.
Absolutely.
Aditi, start.
Okay. The title of my story is Ego. So once upon a time in a school there was story writing competition. The winner was supposed to get a trophy and a gold medal. So everybody gave their name for the competition and a boy named Aman also gave his name. There was 1 month's time to submit the story. I started writing the story so overconfident over himself that he thought that he would start writing his day and would complete it. And he would win the prize. Everybody wrote the submitted it. And Aman kept postponing till the last day. On the last day, his mother asked, "I thought you were about to write a story. Are you going to write it now?" Aman had almost forgotten about it and then started to think about the story. He didn't even have the main concept on what to write the story, and he hadn't thought about it, and he didn't think anything about it. His mother said to him to give up the hope of writing it, but he was still so overconfident over himself that he would win the prize. So he woke up the whole night, kept thinking, and at last he wrote a story. In the morning, when he showed his story to his mother admired his story, and then he happily went and submitted the story to the school. And the next day, the results were about to be announced. The next day, when he went to the school and when the principal came to the stage to announce the name of the winner, Aman got up from his seat and went to the stage. But when the principal announced the name, it was not Aman. It was a mother boy. Aman was so surprised that he went and argued with the teacher, but the teacher said that that boy's story was better than his. He said that it was not fair and he had to win the prize. Even his friends and some of his friends agreed because they thought that Aman would win the prize, but nobody did anything. His mother said. So I knew that you were not going to win the prize. Then Aman was very angry and shouted, "How could you tell that? You even admired my story." That his mother said, You wasted the whole month, and you completed a task in one day which was supposed to take 1 month. And now you wanted to win the prize. Then Aman said, Then why did you admire my story? Then she replied, Your story was good, but not the best. You had a lot of ego on yourself that you thought that you would only win the prize. Did you even read the story of the other boy? Aman knew that his mother was right, but he still didn't agree and kept fighting. At last, he had to agree that he was so overconfident himself, and then from the next time, he improved. Thank you.
Nice, Aditi. Good story.
Good.
Yeah, very good. Ego. Okay. We'll move to the next narrator, Rishta. About story. Rishta, unmute yourself and switch on your video as well, please.
We can see her.
Yes, Rishi, can start.
Just a minute.
Can you show your? Yeah. No, continue.
The title of my story is The Parrot Who Wouldn't Talk. This story is written by Ruskin Bond. You're no beauty. You can't talk, you can't sing, you can't even dance. With these words, Aunt Ruby would taunt an unfortunate parrot who she had bought from a bird catcher who sold birds from very rare parakeets to even common sparrows dabbed with paint, sold as very uncommon species. Granny and Grandpa were not so keen on having a bird at home. But Aunt Ruby insisted on it and threatened to throw one of her tantrums if they didn't buy her a bird. So, my grandparents had no choice but to buy her a bird. They bought her a parakeet. But this parakeet had taken instant dislike on Aunt Ruby and refused to talk. Aunt Ruby would employ various staff to teach the bird to talk. The bird gradually picked up a few expressions, but it wouldn't speak. All the staff threatened to resign if they were made to teach the bird to talk anymore. Finally, Aunt Ruby, who still loved the bird, decided that she should go and talk to the parrot every evening. So, every evening, Aunt Ruby would go to the parrot and say, "Come on, have a kiss." The bird would instantly back away, its beady little eyes getting even smaller with anger. Oh, just imagine being kissed by Aunt Ruby. On one occasion, it even darted forward and knocked Aunt Ruby's spectacles off her nose. Since that moment, Aunt Ruby had given up even her efforts to make the bird talk. And every time she saw the unfortunate parakeet, she would yell at it. You're no beauty. You can't talk, you can't sing, you can't even dance. And other nasty comments. Whenever I passed by the bird, would give it a few green chilies or guava pieces. Sometimes I would even give it half my mango, for it was mango season. One day, when all of my family were busy, I went to the bird, opened its cage door, gave it half my mango, and deliberately left the door open. Before anybody knew what happened, the bird was flying its way to freedom. Grandpa, who had just come into the veranda, said, I see your aunt's parrot has finally escaped. The door was loose anyway, I said with a grin. I thought that the parrot would go away forever, but looked like I was wrong. For it looked like the parrot missed all the green chilies and guava pieces as it came back after a few days. It cocked its head towards me hopefully, as if hoping for some tidbits. I gave it half my mango. Just then, Aunt Ruby came into the veranda. She said, Oh dear, look, it's my parrot. Looks like it has missed me. She cried. Come here, you birdie, she said. But the parrot flew out of Aunt Ruby's reach. And then the parrot said, You're no beauty. You can't talk. You can't sing. You can't dance. You're no beauty. In Aunt Ruby's voice. Aunt Ruby went ruby red. The parrot said again, You're no beauty. For these were the words it had heard most. Aunt Ruby, who was still ruby red, dashed indoors. I could not help myself grinning. The parrot had learned to talk after all. Thank you. My story is done.
Sir, what is the conclusion, Rishita? Do you repeat? The parrot?
The parrot had learned to talk after all.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Rishita.
Good.
I had a question for you.
Go on, Mansa.
If you really do have a parrot and it doesn't learn to speak, will you be like Ruskin Bond or Aunt Ruby?
No, we have a neighbor.
I'm asking of her.
Good answer.
Just for those of you who don't know, Rishita is my daughter and Mansa is my neighbor. Yes, Rishi, answer, Mansa.
I don't know. I think I can answer that if I have a parrot.
Oh, that's a good
Surya
that's even
uncle.
better.
Surya uncle.
No, it's your question, so you have to my one. Right.
Great story. Thanks, Rishi.
Hi.
And then we have Rohini, but Rohini unfortunately is held up with Sadhguru's live, I think. So we'll move to the next one. Krishna Sarvan, value of hard work. Sarvan, can you show your video and unmute yourself and tell the story?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Go on, Sarah.
This boy. Oh, good, good. Come on.
Hello everyone, good evening. I am Shevan. Today I am going to narrate a story. The title of my story is Value of Hard Work. Let's start. A successful businessman had a lazy and a fun-loving boy. He knew that he had to do something for it. His son would spend money carelessly and would never help around the home. The businessman wanted to teach him a lesson. On a certain day, he said that from today onwards, you will be given meals only at night if you earn something throughout the day. The boy was confused at first, in doubtful disbelief. But looking at the seriousness of his father's face, he knew that he was not joking. He went to his mother for sympathy and help. His mother felt sorry for him and gave him a gold coin. The night at the dinner table, when his father asked about his earnings, the boy promptly showed him the gold coin that his mother had given. By seeing the gold coin, his father understood that he hadn't earned anything and asked him to throw it into the well in the garden. The boy, without any hesitation, threw it into the well and returned to the dinner table. Later that night, his father sent his wife to her parents' home. When the boy woke up and realized that his mother is not around him to give him any money, so he went to his grandfather. His grandfather also felt sorry for him and gave him another gold coin. When the father asked about his earnings, he showed the gold coin that his grandfather had given. The father felt sorry for him as he didn't understand the thing he said, and again asked him to throw it into the well. The boy again, without any hesitation, threw it into the well. Then his father went to the grandfather and told about his plan. The grandfather no longer gave him money. When the boy realized that his grandfather or his mother won't give him money, so he went to market in search of work. In market, he saw a shopkeeper who he might help him. He asked for work. The shopkeeper said, "If you carry this heavy hunk to my home, I'll pay you 3 silver coins." The boy agreed for it and set to work. By the time he delivered the hunk, he was drenched and was exhausted in sweat. He raced towards his home to show his earnings to his father. When his father asked about his earnings, he showed the 3 silver coins. But again, his father asked him to throw it into the well. This time, the boy refused, almost in tears. He felt crushed. He said, "The father, my whole body is aching, and you are asking me the money that I made to throw it into the well." Then the father smiled and said, "It feels always painful when the fruits of your hard labor are wasted." Then the son realized his mistake. Now, moral of the story. Sometimes life's best lessons come through hard work. Hard work is not only in the reward, but also in the own sense of achievement. Thank you.
Well narrated, Sarvan. Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then in the list we have Snigdha, who already narrated a story. So we'll move to the next participant, who happened to be Shri Mansa. Mic is all yours, Mansa.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes. We can hear you.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, good evening, all. This is Mansa. So, today I'll be sharing with you all a story that I had written in, I think I was in 6th. So, hope you like it. The story goes like this. I was laying on my bed and I was reading a book. I was reading in a very concentrated way. Then suddenly I heard a sinister laugh. I thought to myself, was it because I was reading such a spooky book, or was it because real? I was in a dilemma to go out and check or not. So I thought for a while. I thought, no, I think it's just I was imagining because I was reading a book about ghosts. So I thought, okay, no, it's not real for sure. Then I took my book again and I started reading. Again, I heard a very, different kind of voice. This time I was sure it was not me imagining. So I decided to go out. I quietly went into the other room. And when I saw the first thing, I was shocked. There was a very big apple which I had bought last night. I don't eat fruits at the night, so I saw that it was quite huge for a human to bite, and it didn't even have jagged ends. So I understood it was something which is very big. I went near it to investigate. Suddenly, I heard a noise from the kitchen where my refrigerator was there. So I turned back and I saw that a very large thing was with a large cloak or a coat was trying to break the fridge door. I was scared, and I didn't have enough money to replace my old fridge with a new one. So I thought, okay, I know a bit of karate, maybe I can face it. So I went with a little fear in my mind. I didn't know what it was. So I went and I kicked him in the back. Then that thing, the monster or whatever it was, fell down. I was relieved that at least it got hurt. But then it turned and came to me. The only words that came out of my mouth were, oh my God, because it was something I never seen at all, not even in movies. So I ran to my to my room and locked the door. I hoped that giant creature was not following me. And yes, it was not, luckily. And then I turned around and I thought, what should I do now? When I was thinking, my eyes fell onto a cupboard in which my Shiro's food was there, which was meatballs. Oh, sorry, Shiro is my dog. So I thought maybe I could try it. So I went to the cupboard, I opened it, took the meatballs. Right next to it was an anesthetic medicine that I bought for Shiro because he was unwell. And actually that night he was at the hospital. So I thought maybe I could put this anesthetic medicine onto the meatballs and it'll fall down and I can think of something. So I took some meatballs, put the anesthetic medicine, and I opened my door really very less, and I just rolled over those balls. And I closed the door. I didn't dare to have a look at what was happening. After a few seconds, I heard munching sound like that. And then I saw a small pot trying to enter the door from the bottom. Then I thought maybe it liked my food. So I took 2 more packets of meatballs, opened the door again, and rolled it in another side. When that creature left to that side, I went out with a bit of with some courage. So I went out and I was standing to see what it was doing. So it went to that side, it had the meatballs, and then it came back to me. I was terrified. What was it going to do now? But then I stood there. It came back and it sat beside me as if I was going to give him more food. Then I again ran inside, took all the meatballs I had, and I put it down on the ground. He happily ate them. And then I told in a very strict voice, "This is all I have. Now sit down." I didn't know, but he sat down. I didn't know. Did the anesthetic medicine work? I don't think so, but it obeyed my order. That's what I wanted. This made me have a new friend for myself. And I got an alien pet. I didn't know what it was. So then that night I realized that the good deeds always make us good friends, irrespective of from which planet or from which place they are. So yeah, this was my story. Hope you all enjoyed.
Nice, Mansa. Good story.
Thank
You
you.
wrote this 3 years back.
Yeah, correct.
Nice.
Mansa did it good.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Joanna.
good.
Nice story.
Good. Next in the list, myself, but I would. Prabhu, can you go next? Hi, Prabhu. Good evening. Prabhu is my friend.
Hi all.
Prabhu.
Hi Surya. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this SEM. So I've been observing Surya from pretty long time, especially when it comes to story, this entertainment music part. So today my topic is all about curiosity. So before starting that, let me introduce myself. I'm a HR turned entrepreneur and I'm a career coach. Currently,
Your voice is not very audible.
oh, I'm sorry for that.
No, I can hear him properly, Kagesh.
There's some problem then my.
What about others? Mansa, can you hear Prabhu well? Chandrasekhar sir?
Yeah, sure. I can hear him. Please go on.
Yeah.
Please
Go on, Prabhu.
Thank you. So what I do is I actually help engineering students and management students to develop an entrepreneur mindset. So in the process, I have figured out few tools. Like I always talk about the curiosity. So the first thing which I always ask any student or any interview which I do, which I conduct, is the first question is all about what is the purpose that they joined for this engineering. Majority of students have the don't give the proper answer. I'm not sure why, but yes, maybe they have a different perspective when it comes to joining an engineering college or a management. They always have a mindset like either parents have told them to join or else they have seen their friends getting into some different courses or their cousins, relatives. I mean, it's always they go with someone else's experiences. Here, I just want to help them understand. Always go with your curiosity. Why? Because curiosity is something which is within you and always makes you to learn things better and makes you explore things which you feel to spend a lot of time. The biggest essential requirement for anything to get succeed in life is you need to be consistent, and this consistency will come when you're very curious and when you're very passionate about that specific topic. It could be anything, even at your home, whatever the parents are trying to tell you to complete certain tasks. See that whether it is matching with your curiosity or not, because it gives you a complete different freedom and also help you to spend long hours and also in a process where you can learn pretty good things, and also make sure that it has to be a habit kind of a thing. So try to have a group of people who are into your mind space and also try to build a community around you. Speak to people who are helping you in better careers, and also a lot of things which I want to share. But for this particular session, I just want to keep it only for curiosity. So on curiosity, you can ask me any questions. I'm open for questions. Maybe I'm very new to this storytelling, so this is what I want to start with. Surya.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, curiosity.
Curiosity, so I just want to answer them.
Yeah, kids, do you have any questions on curiosity? Or adults, Pavan sir, Rajkumar Garu, and Khagesh? I have a lot of questions, but I do not want to discuss here, but we'll discuss separately.
Sure.
So maybe you can ask a few. We'll also learn, sir.
No. See, basically, I'm doing some research on schooling and homeschooling, right? So,
Okay.
Yeah, now you understood the context.
I'll not talk now. Good.
So
you should have a one-to-one with him. Yes.
Yes. They say children are generally curious until they. Okay, I'll stop there. Okay.
Yes.
And any of you have any questions, please? I don't think they have any questions, Prabhu.
Okay, fine. Just I'm done with it.
Yeah. Thank you. So next it is me. The topic is about all of you can unmute yourself. So this is not a story I'm telling. Next week probably I'll tell a story. All of you can unmute yourself and let's discuss. This is about critics and feedback. Okay? All of you can show your face also. Or Mansa was sleeping till now. Rishita, hi Samata. Darwan.
Hi, Uncle.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Yeah. Okay, the topic is critics and feedback. Okay. So critics and feedback. For example, Mansa told a story. Rishita, can you show your video and unmute yourself? This is more like a discussion just for 5 minutes and then we'll stop for the day. Okay? So right now Mansa told a story, right? We can all say, very bad story. Or we can say, not at all good. But instead of that, if you can just give some feedback, positive feedback, it's always good, right? So I found a YouTube story, something like that. I'll just play it. All of us will watch it together. I'm sharing my screen. You can, yeah, you can see my screen, I believe. So this is a story. Can all of you hear me? Hear that voice?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just take my headphone.
Let me know if you cannot, the voice is not. This is a story called Austin's Butterfly, okay?
And it's a true story about a first grade boy. His name is Austin, and he goes to school, or used to go to school, in a town called Boise, Idaho. And in his class in Boise, Idaho, they were studying butterflies, and he had to do a project. His job in first grade was to draw a butterfly, and this is the butterfly that he picked. Austin had to use this photograph as his model, and he had to draw an accurate scientific drawing of this butterfly. This is called a tiger swallowtail. Can you tell, Toby, why it's called tiger?
Because it kind of has the stripes of the tiger right there.
Good. So here was Austin's job. He was supposed to do a scientific drawing of that butterfly. But remember, Austin was only in first grade. And you know what he did? He forgot to look like a scientist carefully. He got his paper and he just started to draw the image of a butterfly that he had in his head. And he wasn't looking like a scientist. And so this is what he drew. It's not bad, and it is a butterfly. But does it look exactly like this? No.
Does it look like any butterfly?
No.
No? Yes? Okay, let's see.
No. Knight doesn't look like a butterfly.
Yes, you're right, Joy.
Luckily, this wasn't a regular school where Austin went. It was an expeditionary learning school, just like Presumption School. And so they didn't look at this and say, good, Austin, you're done. They said, Austin, good start. Now we can start giving you critique so you can do a second draft and a third draft and make it better. And you can make it much, much closer to this. And he was ready to go. All of the first graders in his critique group sat on the floor like you guys are. And they decided to split their advice into two kinds. First, just the shape of the wings. And then when the shape was right, they'd give him advice about the pattern inside the wings. Alia, what would you say?
You can make it much pointier.
Good. These wings could be much pointier.
So now what are they doing? They're giving feedback. And we can always say, no, it is not good. Right, Joyna?
Yes.
But you can say, you can do it like this. The wing can be more curvy, more lengthier. Right? Instead of saying a straight no, you can say, what will look better? Right, Joanna? Mansa? Rishita? Feedback. Instead of saying no, you can say something, some improvement. Aditi? Yes? So that's what the kids are doing. So let's continue with that.
Who else would add something? Atak, what would you say?
About the angle, because not to be mean about
Yes.
the angle, it's just not exact. So
Okay, so show me. Come on up here, Atak. Show me what you would ask him to do slightly different.
like to make it a little longer,
Longer where? Draw where you would do it.
right there.
Okay, so pull this out longer.
Yeah.
That's very specific, Atak. Thank you. Jamila, what would you say?
It's like triangle.
Good. Jamila, I love that. So you're saying more like a triangle shape. And I agree. Well, you know what? Those first graders came up with most of those same ideas. And you know what Austin said? He said, okay, I'll go try. And he went back to his seat and he drew this. Does this look more like a triangle? Yeah. Did he go out further, like Atak was suggesting?
Yeah.
Did he add some jaggedness here,
Yes.
like Cindy? Did he get rid of that bottom thing?
Yes.
So he did listen to his friends and he made it better. It's not perfect. Toby, what would you say?
I'd say don't put those little tail things so pointed in. I'd say put them more pointed down.
Good. Okay, Ethan, what would you say?
My teacher should make the wings like this, not like just.
Okay, he listened to his friends and they said, this is really a lot better, Austin. That second draft really is better.
And we can make a third one.
Good, maybe he could make a third draft. And so he did this draft.
That's the third one.
That's his third draft, Hadley. That's just right. Elijah, what do you notice there?
Well, one wing's more pointed than the other, and that side is a little bit higher.
Good. Coburn?
Right here, it doesn't have the inside thing still.
Oh, okay. Needs a little bit more of that notch. So, you think maybe he should do a fourth draft?
Yeah.
Well, that's just what he said. He said, shoot, okay, I got round again. I'll go back and do a fourth draft. He listened. Does it look more even like Elijah was suggesting?
Yes.
Yeah. And does it look like it's coming out a little sharper, like Cindy was suggesting? And like Atak was saying, it's a little, the angle looks a little better. So now Austin was feeling really good. He said, am I ready to add some pattern? And they said, okay, why don't you try adding some of the pattern? And he did.
He's good. He is so good.
And then they said, Austin, you're ready for color. Let's look at his last draft. And
Oh, hey, Papa.
Yes, now we have all seen that video, right? So what are the lessons for us? I want the kids to say. Aditi? Rishita?
We should learn from our mistake and improve.
Okay. Yeah, that is one thing. But here the video is all about giving feedback. Right? As a team, for example, you can always say the painting is not good. Instead of what the kids did, you can do it more like this. You can do it more like that, like the constructive feedback. Right? Rishita? No, Joina. Right? You can tell me, right? I, for example, I told a story, then you can tell me, Uncle, your story could have been better if you have spoken well, louder, I mean. Right? Instead of saying, Uncle, your story is bad. Of course, my stories are always bad, that's a different thing, but you could give constructive feedback so that I'll improve. That is the whole point. Getting it? So from today, let's try to implement this in our lives. So if mother cooks you some dish, she puts in a lot of effort, something is not good, instead of saying bad or not good, you can say, Amma, you could have put a little more sugar or little more salt. Whatever you feel, when you eat, you know, right? So from today, let's give constructive feedback, good feedback, which will again help your mother or friends, everybody. Right? Joina, understood? You understood?
Rather than giving direct feedback, no, Pachani and all, we should say, no, we should improve like this. We can further add this.
Bhaiya ko bolo, if his drawing is bad, you don't say his drawing is bad. Do it like this. Teach him, okay? Bhuvana, hi. That's all. I just want to say that that's a critics and feedback.
I have some points to say, Surya here. Ratan here.
Yes, please.
Rather than saying it as feedback, it is called feed forward. So,
okay,
what feed forward is? You're saying that you have to do. I mean, you have to draw some angle. Yeah, saying or adding some pattern.
Ratan, once again, we have a lot of noise from somewhere.
It's my noise or?
Yeah, go on, Ratan. Go on.
Yeah. So feedback is something which you give on what you have already done, but feed forward is saying that you should have done like this.
Doing like this, Shita doing.
Okay.
So I mean, feedback and feed forward are two different aspects. So what I'm trying to say is whatever the kids were giving to draw the right image is feed forward.
Okay. You're telling the right word. Okay. Correct. But you got the intention, right? What
Correct.
you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's called feed forward, it seems, guys. Feed forward. Feedback forward, right?
No, it's feed forward. Feedback.
Feed forward. Oh, feedback. Oh, it is feedback and feed forward. Oh, okay. Nice. It is not feedback, it is feed forward. Nice. Thank you, Ratan. That's one new word I learned today. Feed forward, not feedback. Oh, nice. Awesome.
Great.
Thank you, Ratan. Thank you. Yes.
Something new for us also. Something new for me also. Feed forward.
Yes. Nice, Ratan. Thank you. Chandrasekhar sir, you want to add something?
Yes.
No, nothing. Fine.
Bhuvana, you have something to say? Even chapta winter mein ho? No? Okay, guys. So, if any of you have anything, please say, or else we will conclude this.
Anything you want to say? Anything you have to say? Over.
Feed forward. So from now on, we all do feed forward, not feedback. Okay? Done? Wonderful. Fine then. Good night to all.
Right.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.
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 Bye, Selvan. Good night.
Bye, Uncle.
Bye, Runa. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Rajkumar garu. Bye. రిషిత వెళ్తావా ఉంటా అక్కడే